Okay, so in today's DBMS class, we are going to study about the working of our DBMS model, okay, and about the different data models as well as the data languages which we are going to use in DBMS, right? So first of all, let's start with DBMS environment, that is working of DBMS. As you can see here, a particular diagram which is having some figures, right? So this is the figure of your DBMS, right? Here, database management system, how the DBMS works. Because whenever we are giving the query to the DBMS software, how it is working, how the query is being generated, or we are giving the query, and how it is being fetched by the system, and how whole working process is going on. So this is particularly the basic idea behind our DBMS software or DBMS model. Now this is our DBMS environment. So in this environment, you can see that DBMS, first one is the database management system, which is the first thing which is important, that is our database management system, whole system which is managing our databases, all the databases which is present in the DBMS software, that is being managed by the database management system, that is your DBMS. So this is the first thing which is present. Then what happens here, application program or some query from DBMS software. DBMS, we are giving the query or application software, that is whatever queries we are giving to our DBMS software, that particular query is being executed by the DBMS, right? So here next level will be application program or some query. Application program, why we are calling it? Because some kind of programming here, whatever thing you have done in C, Java, etc., that was our programming, right? But here we are, DBMS is not a language. Here we are using the SQL queries, which is the form by which you are giving some command to the computer. You are talking with the computer. You are communicating with your DBMS, database management system. To communicate here, whatever programming is being used, the application program, the program which is used, that is called our queries. So application program or some queries which is being given to the database management system. Here DBMS, you are giving the query. Now the software will run the query. First of all, in database you are giving the query, some application query. Then what happens? The software will run the query. Whatever query you have given to the software, suppose create table name. Then you are giving the attributes, whatever things you are going to give as the table headers, right? So the attributes you are giving, that is what is your query, that is to create a table or to fetch something, to insert something, to update something. So these are the queries which you are going to give to the computer, to the DBMS software, right? So here you are giving the query and the query is being fetched by your DBMS software, that is your Oracle software. Now software access the data. After the what happens whenever you are giving the query? So what will the DBMS software, what it will do? It will just, the DBMS will do, it will just go to the database and it will fetch that one, fetch your data. It will access the data which is being there in your database. From where you are getting the data? Here, what is the main logic? What is the simple logic of your DBMS? That whatever data, in previous class we have seen, you can see the video, that whatever data we are saving in the DBMS database, that is saved in the, stored in the DBMS, right? So whenever you are asking the DBMS to give some data, what the DBMS will do, first of all, it will take your particular query, it will run the query, then it will access the database. Then only from the database only it can fetch your result. It can get the result of your query. Query is being given by you. But to get the result, what the DBMS have to do? It have to access the database. All the details, whatever data, all the data, this is the database, the storehouse, okay, this is the database, and this database contains all the data, whatever data is there, So these all features are there in your DBMS. So DBMS have what? It have all the databases present there. Whenever you will ask for any query, it will go to the database and fetch the query whatever, or retrieve the data whatever you want from it. Then it will show you the data. So first of all, DBMS, some query is given, then the query is run, then the software will access the data. From where? It will access the data from database. This is the whole function of your DBMS software. First of all, you are giving the query, it is taking the query, the DBMS is taking, you are giving the query to the DBMS, that is your database management system. Then it will obviously run the query. In C program, what we do, we give the query in the form of a program, whole phase or whole structured program, right? Then the computer runs the program, it asks for your input, you give the input, you give the query, it will give you the required result or the desired result, right? Here what happens, here it will run the query, and afterwards the software will access the data. When it will run the query, obviously it will know whatever thing you want from the database DBMS. So it will then access the database. Then it will find out whatever thing you have asked. So it is then accessing the data in the database. After it gets the result, it will show you the result in the DBMS console. So this is the whole process, how the working of your DBMS software does. Okay, so the DBMS software basically works on the related queries. Whatever queries you are giving, that queries it is running, and on the basis of those queries, it is giving you the required result. In other languages, it is for C, for Java, different programs we use. Object-oriented program, object-based some programs are used. Here some structured program, procedural programs are used. But here the basic thing is your query. Queries only give you the access to the database. By the help of queries, you can access the database, and from the database you can get the desired result. So this is how the whole system works. Any query, whatever you give, it will search that from the database only. Done? So this is what is there in your working of DBMS. Okay. Now next is levels of data abstraction. What is data abstraction? What thing, different levels which is being there in the data. Whenever we are telling about any data, so data abstraction have some different levels. So to get those levels, we have to know about each and every level to know about DBMS more briefly, right? So here, to simply user interaction with database, data abstraction is made. What is data abstraction? Basically, it is made for user interaction with the software, right? So basically 3 levels are there: view level, logical level, and physical level. So these are called views. So these levels, why it had been made? Because to interact with the software more nicely, right? When you are interacting with the software, some levels should be there which will help you to interact more nicely to the software. So here first one is the view level, right? So this is the view level, logical level and physical level, right? So in the view level, you can see there are so many views. This is the view level. First view, second view, and n number of views. There can be n number of views in the view level. Then comes the logical level. This is the logical level. And then last level is your physical level, the basic level. Now, what is the physical level? The lowest level of our abstraction describes how the data are actually stored. We are storing data in the database. Database is basically about storing the data, right? So, how the data is actually stored in your database, that is what is there in your physical level, right? So, how the data, the lowest level is the physical level, and it shows what abstraction describes how the data are actually stored in your database, whatever database you are using. So how the data is actually stored, right? Now it describes the complex low level data structures in details. Whatever data structures are there, the complex data structures, it will show This particular describes the complex low level data structures. This is what is the work of your physical level, the lowest level. Actually, how we are storing the data, it will describe that one, as well as it will show the complex data structures. It will describe your complex data structures in the lowest level, that is your physical level. Then what comes? Then comes the logical level. Logical level is what? This level of abstraction describes how the data is stored in the database. Now, actually stored. Data actually stored, how actually stored. But here what is there? The data is stored in the database and what relationship exists among those data. Whenever you are talking about database management system, the very basic thing and the very important thing is the relationship. Each and every data is having some relationship. As I have told you in the previous class also, entity relationship diagram, you have seen that what is the relationship between each and every entity. So in the physical level, we are seeing that how the data are actually stored in our database. But in logical level, we will see that how the data is stored, as well as what is the relationship between each and every data. Each and every data is having some relationship between each other. Like take this example of student and teacher. So obviously student and teacher have the relationship of teaching, right? Now books and students, so reading. So you can see that each and every data will have some relationship between them. So logical level basically shows us not only how the data is stored, that is being stored by our physical level also, but also how the relationship exists between each and every data. That relationship is being shown by our logical level. That now, so this is the relationship, basically the relationship. Now it describes the entire database in terms of small number of relatively simple structure. Here we were talking about complex data structures. Now here we are describing the entire database in form of some small relatively simple data or simple structures. Their complex structure was there. Since we are going for the upper levels, this complex structure is now going for some simple small simple structures, not complex. We are breaking that complex one now into small simple structures. This is what is happening in case of our logical level. So physical level only the simply the how the data is stored. At logical level it is breaking that thing, not only how it is stored but also the relationship between them, right? Now the highest level, that is your view level. The highest level of abstraction describes only part of the entire database. Now entire database, what is there, each and every part of that entire database is described here, nothing else. So you can see here there are so many view 1, view 2 and view up to view n. So each and every view, okay, that view of your database is being shown. So only some parts of the database is being shown. Whichever part you demand, that will be shown in the view level. That is your view of your database, a particular view of your database, not the whole database, entire database, but a particular view of your database is being shown here, whichever is needed by you. So this is what is basically the whole levels of abstraction. The basic thing which is needed here is the relationship among each data. So this relationship is being shown by our logical level. Physical level only shows how the data is being stored, but logical level will show you each and everything, how the data is stored, not only that one but also the relationship, which is the means physical level is only showing you the basic details, but logical level is showing you the relationship also. It is an elaborated form of whatever thing is shown in the physical level, and the view level will be giving you a whole view of the entire database. Only a view can be seen by you, whichever is needed by you. It can be many in number, 1 to n. So this is what is the whole structure of your data abstraction. What is data abstraction? Data abstraction is how it is made just for how the user can interact with your database. Okay, so how the simply user interaction with database, data abstraction is being made. This is the basic definition. Understood? Now next is instances. Whenever you will be reading about database management system, a very important term is instance. What is the instance? At the particular moment what is happening, that is the instance, right? Whatever thing is happening at the particular moment, as I have told you in previous class also, that at a particular moment when I am going for a bank, we are doing any transaction, so at that particular moment what is my amount, what is my current amount, that is very much needed, since it should be updated whenever I am going for any transaction, whether it is adding or it is subtracting. So at a particular instance of time, what is the data present there? On that data only this particular transaction will happen, so that I can get the correct transaction. Otherwise, if it's not updated, or we are talking about the previously what had happened, not at the particular instance, then it will give you a wrong result. So instance is what? The collection of information stored in the database at a particular moment, right, is called an instance of the database. Collection of info, whatever collection of the information is there at a particular moment. Each and every instance means at that particular moment, whenever you are asking for the query, or whenever you are working on the particular database, right? So at that particular instance, the collection of data, okay, that is called stored in the collection of information stored in the database at a particular moment is called the instance. That is your instance of the database. That is called the instance of the database. So this you can understand, that at particular moment, a particular instant of time. Here the time very much it's needed, or it is very much important, because as each and every place we are working on the data, but if any place the database is updated, the updated data at that particular moment, the newest data, the updated data is needed there, and any kind of transaction is done on that data only. Or whenever you need any query from, need any kind of data information from the database, it will obviously give you the perfect data that is on the particular instant, particular moment what is happening, that it will give to you the current data, that is the updated data, right? Now, schema. What is a schema? The overall design of the database is called schema. That is overall design. Whole design of your database. Whenever you're designing the database, the whole designing of your database is called as schema, right? Now, there are two kinds of schema: physical schema and logical schema. It describes the database design at the physical level. We have seen the physical level. What was that? Actually, how the data is stored, that is being seen there. Complex data structures are described there. So, this is it describes the database design at the physical level. Whatever database designing we have done at the physical level, that thing is being called as physical schema. Your whole designing of the database, right? And logical schema describes the database design at the logical level. Logical level means where the relationship as well as how the data is stored, that is being shown, and thus it is the whole complex data structures are broken into some small basic and simple structures. So this is the whole thing about schema. Schema is the whole designing of your database. Whenever you are designing any database, that is called your schema. Means the whole database. Whatever designing you have done, whole database. It's about the whole database. But at the logical level, it is called logical schema, and at the physical level, it is called physical schema. That's all, right? Now, data models. Now we will be talking about different data models. What kind of data models are there? Different data models are there on which we are working. So these data models are basically have some definitions which will be needed in your examination. So you have to know about each and every model. As in the previous class, I have shown you a small data model, that was your entity relationship model. How it was working, and how the relationship, how the entity, its attributes, its relationship, each and everything was needed there. And we were showing it with the help of some diagrammatic view. So that was your entity. So this kind of data models are there. These data models are basically needed when you are going for designing a database. Data models will show you how you can make the database, how you can design the database, right? So basically data models are a collection of conceptual tools. Okay, a collection of conceptual tools for describing data. These are some conceptual tools. We will see different data models. So conceptual tools means what? Some kind of tools are there. Why? To describe our data. Each and everything is related to the data. The basic thing is there. It is called the data. So it will the conceptual tools for describing the data relationships, right? So here I have shown you entity relationship diagram. So entity relationship diagram is data relationship. You have seen there data relationships. Now data semantics and consistency constraints. Constraints are, here we are talking about the consistency constraints also. Here you will see the different data models. We will show you. I will show you how these data models are working on. So these different consistency constraints as well as the data relationship, the data semantics, each and everything, and the data, these all things are being there. It's a concept where conceptual tools are being used to describe these all things, as well as a data model provides a way to describe the design of a database at physical, logical, and view levels. So it will also show you, it will describe you the different levels also, that is your physical level or logical level or the view level. So it will describe the design of a database. Okay, data model will show you how the design of the database is going to be in the physical, logical, or your view level. So each and everything, basically the data models are giving you the idea of your whole thing, whole data. What is the data which you are going to work on? What is the relationship between each and every data? What is the data semantics, the consistency constraints, everything, each and everything, as well as it is showing you what is the position of the database, how the database, where is the database or in the physical level, what is the designing of the database in the physical, logical, and view level. Means these things as well as the whole, about the whole data is being shown with the help of data models. So data models are very important. Each and every type of data model is important, right? Now let's talk about the different data models. There are 4 kind of data models. First one is the relational model. From the name itself you can understand that it is talking about the relationship between each and every data. So it is basically on the relational data, that is relational model is happening for the relationship, mainly how the relationship is there in between data. So that is being shown in your the relational model, right? So 4 types of data models are there, basically 4 types of data model. First one is the relational model, that is it uses a collection of tables to represent both data and the relationship among those data. So it is basically uses a collection of tables are there. Some tables we will use. Okay, we will make some tables. Tables are what I have already shown you. What is the table? That is whenever you are talking about any making any kind of database, obviously you will make the table, that is employee ID, name, okay, address, phone number, this kind of. So this is what we are making a table there. So this is the relational model. What is the relationship between each and everything? Employee ID, name. Okay, so this is the primary key, name, address, phone number. So each and every data is having some relationship between each other. So this is what is there in the relational model. It is the collection of data in the form of some tables. We are using some tables and we will be showing the different relationship between each and every data. So this is the employee data. Again, in case of student and teacher, you will have some student data, some teachers, some databases also there. So like this, different databases are there, and these data having some relationship with each other. That is why this is describing this relationship. That is why it is called as data relational model, right? Now it uses a collection of table to represent both, that is your data and the relationship among those data. It will describe you the data about the data, right, and the relationship between those particular data, whichever you are giving them. And each table has multiple columns. These are the multiple columns which is used here. Each and every table will have some multiple columns, and each column has a unique name. Each column will has a unique name. Each and every column will have some unique name. Also, tables are also known as relations. Here, each and every table, like this table, and each and every table which will be make, that are known as relations. So, in data models, basically some things are important. That is your table. Table will have some columns. Each and every column will be unique from each other, and these columns will be known as relations, particular relations, right? Here you can see, these tables are known as particular relations, each and every table. Why these are known as relations? Because it is having some unique data and it is showing the relationship between each and every data. So as it is showing some relationship between each and every data, so obviously these tables are known as relations. This you can easily understand, as well as you can easily just remember these things, right? So first one is your relational model, which will be showing the relationship and the data. It will be describing about the data and relationship with the help of some tables like this. At each and every table, it will have some columns, and these columns will be unique from each other. As you can see, employee ID, your roll number, whenever in case of students, name, address, phone number, each and every data is very unique from each other, and each and every data has some relationship between each other, right? Obviously the name of the whatever name of your particular person or the employee, it has some employee ID, so they are related. Again, the particular employee ID or the particular name, it has some address, some phone number, some email ID, etc., some salary, again other things. So these are the particular data, how they are related. So you can see that each and every data is related here. This is what is happening in the relational models. You have to show the data as well as the relationship between them with the help of some tables. These tables are very much important when you are going for a relational model. Then now next is your entity relationship model. Again, we have studied about entity relationship model. There some entities are there and some relationship between those entities are being shown, right? So here what happens, the entity, particular entity, suppose whenever you are talking about some college management system or some school management system, so this will be the entity. With the help of this we will show the entity, suppose student, and here the teacher. So these are our two entities. Entities means some real life objects. So this is the student, this is the teacher. These are our two entities, entity 1 and this is our entity 2, right? Then we have to show this is the entity. Now it has some attributes also. Attributes means something about the different entities, about them, what is there about them, that is known as attributes. So it will have some roll number, right, some name, right, and about some maybe age, etc. Again, teacher will have some employee ID, they will have some subject, particular subject, they will have some salary, right, these will have some marks. So these are the each and every attribute, and these are the relationship is being given by this, that is your teachers. Teacher teaches the students, right? So this is the whole entity relationship diagram, how we show the entity. So you have to work on each and every real life object, and you have to show the basic relationship between them. You have to show the different qualities of your particular entity, qualities or the things related to them. That is, a student will have name, roll number, etc. So these are called attributes. Attributes are basically the things which are related to that particular entity. Again, that particular attributes will be working as the this, like whenever we are making the table, it will work as the columns of your table. Again, the same thing, it is also talking about the relationship, but here some extra thing is coming, that is your entity and the attributes. The attributes will be working as the different columns of your table that are also unique in case, and the relationship between two tables, it is making the relationship between two tables. The relational model was showing the data and the relationship between each data. Here what is happening, we are talking about two different entities, the teacher and the student, and the relationship between them. So this is what basically happens in entity relationship diagram. Now it uses collection of basic objects called entities. Basic objects, any basic object we are talking about, that is our real life objects. So those basic objects are known as entity. Here teacher is a basic object, maybe student is the basic object, maybe employee is the basic object. So these are the real life objects which we are talking about, and these objects are known as entity in entity relationship diagram. You will call entity relationship diagram, we will also see it is also known as ERD diagram. ERD diagram, right? Entity relationship diagram. In exam what comes is the make the ERD diagram of this particular thing. So ERD means entity relationship diagram. That, so this is the short form of your entity relationship diagram. So whenever they are giving you something to write about and make the entity relationship diagram, you can easily draw now. Again, so basically it is the collection of basic objects. This is called as entities. And relationship among these objects, here entity is any real world distinguishable thing or object. That is your real world distinguishable. Distinguishable means what? You cannot take two entities of the same thing, right? You have to see that both the entities should be distinguishable, that you can differentiate between these two entities, right? Since one entity, if you are talking about student, one entity you are talking about teacher, so these two entities are distinguishable from each other, right? So this thing you have to see whenever you are making an entity relationship diagram. You have to see that each and every entity is distinguishable from each other, and they are real life objects as well as they can be in anything. So these can be distinguishable things, real life distinguishable things or objects. So whenever you are making the entity relationship diagram, this you have to keep in mind, that they should be distinguishable from each other. They should be different from each other. Then only you can make the attributes. The attributes will be different. If they will be of the same thing, then suppose you are talking about student 1 and student 2. So you cannot make an entity relationship diagram between them because they are not distinguishable. The attributes will be same. But whenever you are talking about a student and a teacher, so they are distinguishable from each other. They are different. Okay, so you can easily make the entity relationship diagram of these particular two, right? So this is what is happening in your entity relationship diagram. Now next is your object based data model. Object based means what? Again same thing is coming. It is talking about the objects, real life objects. But here object based data model means whenever we are talking about some object based, that is object oriented languages like C++, Java. Basically these objects based databases are used when we are talking about those particular Java, JDBC, ODBC you have listened about maybe. So this kind of thing that is basically used there, that is our objects based model. At that time here the working will be on the based of object oriented languages. You can use C++, you can use Java. So it is basically related to your object based model, is basically related to your object oriented languages. So here object based database, it is mainly used in object oriented languages such as Java, C++, etc. So when you are working on any Java software, you are working with whenever you want to access some database, that is your JDBC, ODBC, they have some database connections. So you will connect with particular database. Here the languages will be C++ or Java. With the help of those languages you can easily access the database and get the data, fetch the data, and on that data you are working in your particular software. So this is what is called object based model. Here only object based data, that is object oriented languages are used. So it is object based. Now last one is semi structured data model. Now what is semi structured? It permits the specification of data where individual data items of the same type may have different set of attributes. Here we are talking about same type, that is here the data items of same type may have different set of attributes. Same type of objects, but they have different data types. Here what can happen, they can have different attributes, set of attributes. Here what can happen, if we are talking about any project management system, suppose we are talking about any project, so there in a particular university. So whenever you are in your 4th year, you are going to make the project. So we make a particular database of these students and which projects they are making. So here what happens, there whatever same type of the items are same type, that is the students are of same type. Two students are not distinguishable, they are same type objects, right? But their set of attributes may be different. How? The students are of same type, student A and student B, both are same, their attributes may be also same. But in case of when we are talking about the student database, the attributes are same, roll number, same subjects, same class, section, everything is same. But when the project database we are talking about, the attributes are, the objects are same, but the attributes are different. The particular students, they will have the different subjects, maybe their subjects are different, maybe their concept is different, whatever project they are working on, that is different. So obviously the attributes will be different. Here this suppose one is working on database management system, one is working on data networking. So again what will happen, their attributes will be different. It have some attributes related to database management system and it will have some attributes related to your data networking. So the attributes will be different, but the objects are same, of same kind or of same type. So this is the thing when it happens in semi-structured. It's not fully structured, it's a semi-structured data model. This also is a very important data model, right? Now XML, extinguishable markup language is used here. Here XML, we will use here XML. With the help of extensible markup language, that is your XML, we will work here. So you can see that each and everywhere when we are talking about different data models, there also you have to see that each and every data model will have some specific language which is required to get the result. What is result desired by you? So to get that particular result, it is very much important that each and every database will have some other languages, which have is specific language which will be related to that particular model. Like in first one, when relational model, we have some queries. You will see, I will show you that how relational queries are made, right? So some different kinds of queries are made for fetching the data from your relationship. In entity relationship model, again we can see SQL is also used. Now in object oriented models, C++, Java, this kind of things are used. Again in semi-structured data model, your XML is used. So not only the data models are different, but to access the data in those kind of data models, also the language is also different languages, because they are basically related to those languages. Since object oriented is related to object model, so object oriented language is used. Semi-structured, we are using extensible markup language, XML. So you can see this distinguished matter which is present here. Not only the data models, also to access the data, to fetch the data, the languages are also different, right? Now database languages, as I was talking about the languages, now we will know about database languages. What kind of languages we used when we are communicating with your database. There are different kind of languages. Since queries are not of one type, queries are of different type of queries are being used. The purpose of fetching the data for different users may be different, right? Like whenever you are a student of a college, so whenever you are a student of a college, so if you want to fetch any database, suppose you want to know when you are going to make the project, then now you have a database which is given to you, in which you have the particular teacher's name, the professor name, and which kind of project they are making, they are related to which particular subject, like networking, DBMS or software engineering, anything, Java, etc. etc. So you will have a particular database where you can access the database, only you can read the database. You can see that yes, this teacher is related to this project, this particular project, this can he can help me in this kind of this particular subject project. So you have only the right to see the data. As a user, you are only there to read the data, right? Now in some places, when you are talking about the salary department or the accounts department, they have the right to write something. They can update the data. Also the admission cell, they have the right when they are writing anything, they are making the database, they are writing the names of the student, their particular details. Now if some student is going away from the college, they can update the data, right? So they can delete the data, they can add some data, so they have all the privileges, that is they can add, delete, update anything. So as a user, they can manipulate the whole database. So these are the different kinds of particular users who is using the database, but in different kind. So they have special languages are there. We are just giving the query and fetching the data, but to give that query is also having some different kinds, the languages, which is we are calling as database languages. Then now let's see, these are basically there are basically 4 types of database languages. Okay, they are mainly basic. What when we are talking about database languages, we are talking about some basic database languages, that is of 2 kind, right? That is your DDL and DML. But in advanced database languages, we have 4 kinds of database languages, that is your DDL, DML, DCL and TCL. So whenever you are talking about the basic database languages which we use, that is your DDL, data definition language, and your DML, that is data manipulation language. These are the 2 mainly languages which are used in your DBMS database. But if you go for the advanced one, then you will get DCL, that is data control languages, and TCL, transaction control languages. So these are 4 types. Basic thing, whenever you are making the basic database management system, you are going for the basic database management system, then you will have only 2 data. That is your data definition. Whatever definition of your data, that language, whenever you are talking about you are working with the definition of the data, the basic definition of each and every data, then you are using the data definition language. Again, for the purpose of getting the data, fetching the data, creating the table, inserting, these all things. Now in case of data manipulation, when you are adding, deleting, any kind of updation, anything, that time you are using the data manipulation language. So these are the basic thing, what basic operations we do on a particular database. But when we are going for the advanced level, that time you will need to control the data, right? You will need to control the data, to make some constraints, to give some permissions to the database. That is called data control language. Granting some permission, to disgrant some permission, giving some privileges to disgrant some privileges. So these kind of things are mainly happens in data control language when you are controlling the data. Data definition means giving the definition of your particular data. Now manipulation is for manipulating the data, adding, deleting, anything. But controlling is that power which is mainly having in the hand of administrator, that is your data administrator. He is controlling the power, that is I want, as I have already told you, that the student will have the particular data, he can access the data, but accounts department can delete data, add data, they can do each and everything. So this is what some controlling power. Again, some granting some permissions, revoking some permissions, these things are there in the data control language. That is, we are controlling with the help of data control language, which are we are controlling the database, we are controlling the data within the database. Again, transaction control language is there. What is transaction? As I have told you that in banking management system, you can see there that some transactions, each and every time, each and every moment transactions are going on. Then to control those transactions, as I have shown you in previous class, that how these transactions happens, and at the particular moment what is the updation of the data is very much important, since whatever data is updated there, the basic transaction is working on that data only. So that controlling, to control that transaction, that is known as your transaction control language. That is basically used in banking system where transactions are going on, right? So this is the basically 4 kind of language. These are the basic and these are the advanced one. Now we will see each and every language very carefully, right? So this is the DDL, that is your data definition language. First one, it allows the user to define the database. whatever is there in your database, particular database, that is your data. Now to define each and every data, right, how you are going to define? If I am going to suppose select something, I want to show some data, I want to get some data, that is select table name. We are selecting something from the table, particular table, so we will write select table name. So selecting what, then you will write what you want to select from the table. Done. So to fetch the data, to give the data a particular definition of the data, these particular thing is made. It is basically describing the whole database with the help of this DDL, that is your data definition language. That it allows the user, it is allowing the user, it is allowing you, the particular user, to define the database. It is defining the database. So whenever you are going to fetch the data, obviously select table name. So you are defining the whole database. Table name, table, that is the whole table. You are talking about the whole database. Now what you want to select from the table, so you have to define the particular database. That is the problem, that which kind of data you want from the table. So you have to give a particular definition of what kind of data you need. That is why it is called as data definition language. Specify the data type. There you have to specify the data type, what kind of data type you want, whether it's an int, whether it's a character. So you have to give that data. If it's a name, it's the character. If it's the age, it's the number. Each and everything you will show there. And constants on the data. What kind of constants are there? If any kind of constants is there, that is also been defined. So that's why these whole things are defined by your data definition language. So this is called as data definition. Now what kind of data definition? First one is select. Select means when you want to get some query from your database, select table name. Then from that table, what you want to select, like some employee name which is starting with N or ending with M. So you will have to give that particular query. We will see in advanced class, other classes, that how we will write that query. But for now, you have to know, with this select, you are asking the database to give me some data. That is your select table name. From this table, I need this data. This particular data name equals to this one. It is starting with N, or it is finishing with N, or any other whatever alphabet. So this kind of, or I want the salary from this database. So this salary, what kind of salary, which will be equal to 30,000 or which will be greater. So these kind of constraints, data types, each and everything is being given with the help of select. Now second one is insert. When you are inserting some data, insert in this table. What insert? First line. First, whenever we are making the table, so we are inserting the data in each and every attribute. Whenever you are giving some data to the employee ID, so insert in this table what? First of all, name, which is a character, then age, which is a number, which will be a number. So how many digits you are going to give to that name? Suppose name, you can give a number 50, that is up to 50 alphabets you can write in the name, particular name section. Now in age, how much you are giving a particular constant, that is up to 100. More than 100 is not possible. Basically it's for 100. Then again your date of birth, this thing, each and everything you can give the format also, which kind of format you are going to use in the. So in inserting a particular row in the table, you have to use this insert command or insert query. So it will also define the whole thing. It will have the data types, it will have the constants, each and everything is being defined. So this is also a data definition language. When you will see the query, or when you will see the structure of the query, you will easily know whether it's a data definition, data manipulation, control. You can easily know that one, right? Now next one is drop. When you are going to drop a table, means you are going to drop the whole table, delete the whole table, that is drop. So drop table, this table name. So you are there also, you have to, or you want to just delete any line, you have to, there also you have to define the table, which table you want to drop. So there also you have to define your table. Now truncate is there when you are going to just correct some lines, correct some points. There you have to use. Again here also you have to define the data. Which data you want to truncate, which data you want to change, that is also there. For updation also there, and truncate means just you have to eliminate some data. There also you have to give the definition of the whole data which you want to truncate. So you can see that each and every command, when you will write the command or write the query, you will easily see that what kind of language it is using or what kind of language it is, since it is defining the data. All of these places you can see that you have to define the data, then only your system will give you the desired result. So these are called data definition. Now comment, when you are giving some comment, at that time again rename, when you are going to rename something, rename the whole table. Suppose rename this table name, that name, and you are again here also you are giving the definition, right? So this is called data definition languages. That clear? You can see with the each and every query that how which language it is. With the basic, only the basic query you can see that one. Now next one is data manipulation language. That data manipulation language, that is your DML. It allows user to insert. You can insert something. When you are inserting something in the particular your particular database, that means what you are manipulating here. That you can update, delete, retrieve data from the database. It will allow you to insert. You can insert, update, delete, retrieve anything from the database. Again here you have to see, again here select is there. Why? Select is also data manipulation also, because you are selecting something, then you are inserting something. That means also maybe there is something in a particular database, then you are inserting something, so it will delete and insert that row in that particular previous row. It will delete and it will just adjust. So this is inserting power is there also. So that is also one kind of manipulation you can do. And updation, each and every time when you are doing any kind of updation, that is also your manipulation, one type of manipulation. Since you are manipulating the data, what is there in your database, present in your database, the administrator can easily manipulate that data. That is the updation. So updation is also one kind of manipulation. Again delete. Obviously when you are deleting the data of any row or any column, that time also you are manipulating. Since when you are deleting, that means you will update also. That means whenever you are deleting, you are manipulating that data. That data which was previously present in your table, that is being deleted. A particular row is being deleted. So this is one kind of manipulation which you are doing to the table. So this is also called one kind of manipulation language. And merge. Merge is what? When two kinds of tables are there, or any two columns you are merging, or any two types of databases are there, you are merging those two databases. That is also one kind of manipulation. So these kind of manipulations can be also done. That whenever you are doing the manipulation, you are updating, deleting the data, or deleting a particular row, that is your manipulation language. You are manipulating the database. So it allows the user to insert. You can insert data in a particular row. You can update the data. Suppose some particular person is going to a employee, so particular company, so employee ID, everything is there. Suppose at that particular instance he is not able to give the address of that person is not present now. So now the address thing is blank here, but after sometimes he is giving you the address or the phone number or the email, whichever thing, it is blank. Now you are inserting some data at that place. At the time of joining, he had not given you a particular address or his phone number, but after some days when he is giving you the phone number, so you will insert it in the section of the phone number against that particular employee ID. So this is what you are manipulating at that time. When you are inserting at first time, when you are inserting the whole thing, whole data about that particular person, that is your data definition language. But when something is blank there, but at some instance of time he is giving you some after joining, after some time he is giving you his phone number which was blank there at the time of his joining. Now you are inserting the phone number. So you are now this time some previous data was present there of that particular person. Now whenever you are giving some point to that, some data to that blank place, that is manipulation. You are manipulating that data. Nothing was there, but you are manipulating it. This time you are manipulating that data because that was blank. Now you have manipulated that data. So this is what is called manipulation. Again, update, you know that you are updating. Insert, update, and delete and retrieve. Delete means again you are deleting, means some data was previously there. So if some previous data is there and I am just changing that data, that is my manipulation. Then definition means I am giving a particular definition. Each and every time I am giving a definition of the data. Whole database, whenever I am talking about, then I am giving a particular definition of the data. But in manipulation, some previous data is there, already present. Here you are giving a new data, but here previous data is present. You are manipulating that data in any kind. That is your data manipulation language. Now, third one is DCL, that is data control language. It is the advanced one. Here, grant is there. Grant means granting permissions. Suppose in database, at some places, you want to grant permissions, read permission, write permission. So, you want to give for someone some reading permission of a particular database. You want to give someone a writing permission of the particular database. So, with the help of RW, you can easily give the reading and writing. So, granting some permission to a person for a particular, I am giving a database to the students. I am giving them just the write permission. They can, the read permission. They can read the database, but they cannot write anything. They cannot manipulate anything in the database. But to some people, I am giving the write permission, so they can write on the particular database. So this is what is in the grant, that is granting permissions. With the help of grant, this is basically done by the data administrator. What they do, they can give some grant permission of reading, writing, anything. And revoke. Revoke means what? Disgranting those permissions. Again, after some time, I am giving some, I am giving the teachers or the professors of a university some grant permission when I am allowing them to update their CV. So at that time, what I am doing, I am granting permission that they can write at this particular up to this particular time limit. So they can update their CV. Then after some time, I am revoking that grant, means I am taking back that grant. Now you can only read. So at the time of when I want them to update, I am giving them a permission. I am granting them a permission to read as well as write to my database. But after some time, when they have updated their CV up to a particular date, then I am revoking that permission. I am taking back that permission. Now you can only read. The updation have been done successfully. Now you will only read. You cannot access or you cannot write anything. So this is what is there in the DCL. So here you can see you are controlling the data. Data control language. That means you are controlling the data. Not only the data, whole database. So this control is basically in the hands of the data administrator. So they can revoke, they can grant permission, they can revoke permission. So this is the whole thing which is there in your DCL, data control language. This also we will see in details when we will go for these chapters only. This is the basic idea of your these chapters. But when we will go for this next chapters, these chapters, each and everything is a huge chapter. The data manipulation language, data definition language, there you will study about the queries, how we will write the queries when we will talking about this one. Also how these transactions are going on, what kind of transaction we will do, or what kind of, how the permissions are given, different permissions are there, how we will give that permission. That is also you will see in your that particular sub chapter when we will read the chapter. Data control language is also there is a chapter. Data manipulation, there is also chapter. The queries are there at that time. But now for the timing, in this chapter you have only the definitions and how they are working. Now other thing is TCL, that is transaction control language. Again here we are calling about some transactions that I have already told you. Now what are transaction control language? First one is commit. Commit is what? Commit is a very important query. When you are doing a particular transaction, right? You are doing some work on your particular database. Now, after you have done a particular level, up to a level, you have to commit there. Commit means what? This is the end of my transaction, or up to this work I can save this one. when this commit is being fetched by your database, up to that point that all the things are being saved, right? If some kind of any hazard is there, some kind of hazard happens, then what will they do? The whole system will stop there. But when we will again restart, you will see that the whole system will up to the commit this thing are saved. So you can easily just work after that commit. Then again some things are related to rollback is there, each and everything. So up to that commit portion, the particular database, they will find the last commit statement. Where was the last commit statement? From that commit statement, they will redo it. They can easily redo it. But after the commit statement, they will undo. Undo means what? There is redo and undo. We will study later that these are two commands. First of all, the database will find the last commit statement. When there was the last commit statement, right? Up to that commit statement, what was the thing? They will just redo that one. Redo means they can easily, up to that one it's saved. But if some commit statement is not executed, then they will know that this particular work has not been saved. They will undo that one. They will again, you have to start from that point. So rollback will be done there. These kind of things are called transaction control language. This is also a whole chapter where we will study in a very described manner what these things means and how we are going to use those things, right? So basically commit, again save point. Save point is that where the whole things are saved. Up to this limit, the whole thing is saved. So obviously that in case of any hazard, that particular limit up to the save point, the whole things will be saved, the whole data will be saved. Then now rollback will roll back the data. If after some hazard, it can roll back the data. Commit is there or not, they will find, and obviously they will roll back the data. And set transaction. What kind of transaction you are setting? There some set transaction is there. That is also a transaction control language. So these kind of queries are used when we are working on the transactions. At that time, many other things are there. Phantom phenomena is there. Many things are there in the transaction. It's a very interesting chapter. That is a transaction control transaction chapter, right? There you will use the transaction control languages. For now, at this time, you know all the 4 languages which are being used in the DBMS. That is the data languages and how these data languages are working. Now, when you will see the particular language, you can easily understand that how this query is working and working on which language. That you can now easily understand. So, this is all what is there in the working of your DBMS, all the data models and the data languages. This is a whole chapter. Now, next class, we will study something else about our DBMS, that is a database management. It's a very interesting subject, and I hope that these classes will gain more interest in you, so that you just, if you have interest in these classes and you want more about these classes, then please like, subscribe and comment, so that I can change. If you want me to change something or you like my style, then it's okay. Till then, take care and goodbye.